Welcome back. So today we were all waiting for Trump to make his big announcement. Uh, so did he say anything big? Did he announce that he was going to remove capital gains tax? Or did he announce he's going to buy more Bitcoin and put into the Bitcoin reserve? No, he didn't say any of those things. But he did vow to make the US a Bitcoin superpower, things that he has said before, and vowed to basically make crypto great again in America. It was basically a nothing burger. Like I said, it could be, right? We were all hopeful that something great would come out of it, but not a whole lot. However, it was still a good thing. I argued this was still a good thing. It showed that Trump still cares about the crypto community. He took time out to actually record the video, play it during the digital asset conference, right? And basically, he tried to reassure all of us in crypto that he still cares, that his team cares, and that we will still move forward. Even though a lot of us are hoping and speculating that maybe something spectacular or something huge will be announced that will drive Bitcoin and pump Bitcoin and crypto up today. It didn't happen, right? And I kind of expected that. I told you guys, we kind of expected the same thing to happen when we had that White House summit and the David Sachs press conference before. But nevertheless, we had this happen, and I think it's good. It's a gentle reminder that, hey, things are still moving along. Okay. Something else he did say that's interesting is stablecoins, right? And basically creating a framework and supporting stablecoins in a big way in America. We don't want CBDCs. Okay. We know that's bad. And Trump agrees, and almost everyone in the crypto community agrees. Right? So supporting stable coins and getting the regulatory, framework out there to support stable coins, I think is a good thing. Okay? And this is kind of a start. So again, even though nothing definitive today was announced, but we are still moving in the right direction. This is one of them. Supporting stable coins rather than having the Fed create its own CBDC, that's a big, big thing. And by the way, something that's kind of unrelated, but also related, is the biggest stablecoin out there, Tether, is actually the 7th largest buyer of US Treasuries in 2024. You know how I've been talking about a lot about the 10-year yield? Tether actually came out today and revealed that they are the 7th largest buyer. So they're buying equivalent of like countries. That's how much they're buying. They bought more US Treasuries than all of Canada, all of Mexico, all of Taiwan and Germany and Switzerland. And they're right next to UK and other huge major countries. It's crazy how much Tether is buying as a private company versus countries out there. Is this the reason why Trump wants to support stable coins? To support Tether, maybe? I don't know, but man, that is staggering. However, besides this, today the SEC also came out with this, which is pretty significant, confirms that proof of work mining, okay, and Bitcoin, of course, are not securities. And we know that SEC itself has been dismissing a whole lot of cases, okay? So this is part of the change. Even though we're not getting some of these big things that we're waiting for right now, all the things that the SEC is doing or not doing, in particular dismissing, is validation that things are moving. things are changing in a big way. All these things were question marks before under Gary Gensler's rule. And everything basically was declared a security. So everything was halted. Every innovation, everything that was going on in crypto, no one knew what the hell to do because Gary Gensler was attacking everything, including even the miners, saying that proof of work mining, staking, I mean, anything, wallets, even decentralized project, everything under the sun is considered a security, which didn't make a whole lot of sense, right? So this came out today. Bitcoin and proof of work mining are not securities, which is awesome, right? Of course, yesterday, the big dismissal against Ripple. So that pretty much means that Ripple is a non-security, but also it means that a whole lot of crypto out there are non-securities. Because if you look at the criteria that the SEC judged XRP on in terms of, you know, being sold or having an ICO, being sold in the aftermarket or secondary market, being sold by the founders, you know, all these things were prior as seen as not passing the Howey test, which means that XRP is a security. Those have all been dismissed, which means that all the other crypto projects that had these things happen, they're not automatically securities anymore, right? So it's big. But let's not forget everything else. Yuga Labs means NFTs, NFTs sold, not securities. All the exchanges like Kraken and Gemini, right? Even NFT marketplace like OpenSea, Coinbase, Robinhood, I mean, even Tron, Uniswap, Consensus, which is the parent company for MetaMask, all these have been dismissed within the last few months. Things are definitely changing for the better. So even though today we didn't get that big news, things are definitely changing for the better in the US, and this will lead to great things later this year. And right now, we know volatility is high. Today, Bitcoin shot up to 87,000, came back down a little bit, but we're still hovering around 84,000, which isn't too bad. But we know we've been going up and down recently. A lot of volatility, of course, because of the macro stuff that I've been talking about, a lot of uncertainty around tariffs and so forth, right? But a lot of people, including BlackRock, thinks that, hey, fears of a recession, or if we do enter a recession, could actually be good for Bitcoin. Okay, there's a lot of fear about Bitcoin. I mean, fear about recession, of course. No one wants to be in a recession. But what happens in a recession? Liquidity injection, rate cuts, right? Things get done in a recession to prop up the economy. And when the money starts flowing, that's when usually Bitcoin starts skyrocketing, quantitative easing. It happened before, it's going to happen again. So right now, all the macro stuff is driving things down. But when we're ready, we're going to recover and recover in a big way. Here's a good example. If you look at global liquidity versus business cycle versus Bitcoin, this is basically showing that when global liquidity starts coming up, business cycle is just basically measuring economic activity. When economic activity starts skyrocketing, liquidity starts going up, guess what happens to Bitcoin's price? Starts skyrocketing, right? We're in one of those times where, yeah, macro conditions are holding us down. But it's only so long before we start moving again with the rest of crypto, right? That's why there are still so many that are DCAing, so many that believe that continue to HODL and DCA, right? And that's the right way to do it. if you look at this, we're moving according to plan. We're moving according to plan. We always have dips, okay? We don't go up in a straight line forever. But once we're through, once that liquidity injection happens, that's when we make that next big jump. So, to conclude, even though today we didn't get a huge announcement, things are changing for the better in the US, okay, for crypto. We know things are. The SEC is dismissing things left and right. Now we have a fair ball game once again. Innovation is going to happen. And things will get better. It's just going to take time. Macro conditions suck right now, but it will improve. And once it does, Bitcoin and crypto will be ready to rock. So stay strong, my friends. I will be live streaming tomorrow. Tomorrow will be Friday, so make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We'll have a good live stream tomorrow. Until then, have a good night. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Have a good night. Bye-bye.